Now, The Hunt Palmer Show.
This is a catastrophe.
You are now listening to The Hunt Palmer Show. Brought to you by Renaissance Homes and Pools on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
That's what I wished for when I blew out my candle.
Locking down the middle of the day. Live from the Raising Cane studio. This is Hunt Palmer.
The floor is yours.
Half that work week officially in the rear view mirror. Appreciate you hanging out with us on this Wednesday. We're brought to you by Renaissance Homes and Pools, officially now working towards the weekend. JD PicKell, host of the Hard Count on 3 Sports in 15 minutes. SEC football power rankings coming up in half of an hour. Let's start the hour off here with an ESPN.com piece. It is ranking every Power 4 conference quarterback. Let's see what the last number is. Of course, that ranking is going to start with 1, but it gets, how many teams are there? It gets through 68. So it's 1 to 68 is the ranking. And of course, as I tell you all the time, like the first thing I do when I jump to one of these lists is go to the local angle. Like, where's Garrett Nussmeier? And so I started scrolling through, and it took me a little while to get there, quite frankly, to scroll down. But Garrett Nussmeier does show up on this list at number 37 on the list. So worse than half on this list. The blurb reads, the preseason Heisman contender dealt with a torso injury before the season. Sure looks like he's still dealing with it, but he has to throw it all the time because LSU's running game stinks. He's throwing quick passes. He's 115th in air yards per attempt. There's only 133 teams in the country. Not completing a huge percentage, 43rd in completion rate, and the ones he is completed aren't going anywhere. 112th in the country in yards per completion. LSU's defense is finally excellent, but Nussmeier and the offense aren't living up to their end of the bargain. I have a hard time go ahead and disagreeing with anything that is being said there. And if you would have told me that Garrett Nussmeier was going to play like a bottom half of the P4 at quarterback this year, and I said, well, they're going to be in some trouble because I think the defense is going to be pretty good, but I don't think they're going to run it great, and if they don't pass it, they're not going to score a lot. And that has been the case to this point for Garrett Nussmeier in this offense, and you know that. Now, some familiar names back behind Garrett Nussmeier that I wanted to point out before I go to what's left on LSU's schedule on this list. Bryce Underwood is right behind Garrett Nussmeier. Nussmeier is 37, and Bryce Underwood is 38. They say that he's 38th in sack rate, 7th in yards per scramble, throwing the ball a little bit too hard at times, had some inaccuracies. He's better than what Michigan had last year, but is he good right now? Probably not. So Bryce Underwood comes in at 38. How about this? You've got to go down on this list a shocking amount to get to the 2 quarterbacks that LSU saw in their first 2 P4 games. Cade Klubnik is 54th on this list. His QBR for the season is 45.1. Hasn't thrown for 1,000 yards yet. We're more than a month into the season. The offensive line's been banged up. The running game's been wholly mediocre, and he's throwing a lot of short, ineffective passes as the blurb reads. And then you've got DJ Lagway, who is 61st on this list. As I told you, this list only goes 68 deep, and DJ Lagway is 61st on that list. 690 passing yards and 68 rushing yards to this point. It's just been completely inept. And those are the 2 guys that LSU was able to score wins over on the back of its defense. So now the question becomes, well, where's everybody else they play ranked? Well, I'll tell you. We'll go all the way to the top of the list. The best quarterback on this list that LSU will play is Diego Pavia. He is ranked 2nd on this list. His QBR is 88.4. He's thrown for 1,200 yards, run for 300 more, 15 total touchdowns, fewer negative plays for the Commodores, 75% completion rate. He has played very, very well. Now, Vanderbilt's schedule has been very light. Yes, you went and won at Virginia Tech. Great. They've already fired their coach. Yes, you won at South Carolina. You destroyed them. That was great. Lenore Sellers had a concussion in that game, which 31-7 is 31-7, but that's the best you got on the resume, so still work to be done. But Diego Pavia at number 2. Incidentally, I'm not going to spend any time on this, but Trinidad Chambliss is 3rd on this list. 3rd on this list. That's nuts. Ty Simpson is the next quarterback that LSU is yet to play. He is 8th on this list. bad road start to begin, but projected over 13 games, he's on pace for 3,700 passing yards, 42 touchdowns, and no interceptions to this point. I got a feeling Ty Simpson will probably throw an interception at some point. He has not yet. So I told y'all a couple of weeks ago that I liked what I saw from Ty Simpson. If you're looking at positives, I hated seeing it actually because it was Alabama's quarterback that was doing it. But I thought that looks pretty good. And he is now up to number 8 on this list. So you got number 2 on the list, you're playing Diego Pavia. Number 8 on this list, you're playing in Ty Simpson. Those games are on the road. Oh, by the way, number 12 on this list, John Mateer, you play him on the road. LSU has 3 of the top 12 quarterbacks in the country, according to this list, yet to play on the road. Now, Mateer is banged up right now. He's got that broken bone in his hand, but very, very good thus far for the Sooners against mediocre competition. Michigan does have a good defense, but everybody else that he's played not been the toughest of sledding. But still, I think it's noteworthy that 3 of the top 12 on this list LSU plays on the road moving forward. Number 14 on this list, still Taylon Green. And I gave you yesterday the ranking of games that I thought LSU could win, easiest to most difficult left on the SEC slate. And I told you Arkansas was the easiest left. He's the fly in that ointment because Green has been massively productive for a year and a half now. He's put himself on a pace for 3,300 passing yards and 1,100 rushing yards if you look at it over 12 games. He has thrown 5 picks. He's tempted fate with some more interception-worthy throws, as the blog reads. But he's 6th in total QBR because he makes a ton of big plays. And that's somebody LSU will have to see. So that's 4 in the top 14 that LSU is yet to see. The 2 others on their SEC slate come in at number 26. That is Marcel Reed at Texas A&M. Of course, Reed torched LSU last year on the ground. He's been an explosive playmaker this year. 6 yards per non-sack carry, almost 15 yards per completion. He's been really good against zone coverage. He's good. Hasn't been great this year. He was great late in that game against Notre Dame, which is why A&M won it. He wasn't great in the game on Saturday against Auburn, and A&M needed its defense to win that game. So Marcel Reed at 26, and then right behind him at 27 is Lenoris Sellers. I think this blurb is interesting, so I'll read it in its entirety. Getting no help from a dreadful run game, and sacks remain a devastating issue. South Carolina, 126. That's almost dead last in the country in pressure rate allowed. That's the offensive line. 119th in sacks per pressure. That's on Sellers not evading it, not getting rid of it, and taking a lot of sacks. But as the blurb writes, he's still a playmaker, averages 15.3 yards per completion. That's 9th in the country. Only thrown 1 interception, 9.2 yards per scramble. That's obviously very good. There are flaws, but the upside is very obvious with Lenoris Sellers. So if you look at this, Nussmeier back at number 37 on this list. The guys you play moving up on the road, 2nd, 8th, and 12th. The guys you play at home in the SEC, 14th, Taylon Green, 26th, Marcel Reed, 27, Lenoris Sellers, and 26, 27, the back end of that list are 2 guys that ran all over you last year. Sellers before he got hurt, Reed when he came into the ballgame. So those guys have history of success against you and your defensive coordinator. I don't think that matters a ton because I obviously think LSU's got way better personnel this year on defense than they did last year, and I think that their defensive coordinator will have learned from that and has better options at his disposal. But it's a little bit daunting to consider LSU's schedule, especially when you look at how far down this list DJ Lagway and Cade Klubnik have fallen. You thought those 2 guys were potential Heisman candidates, potential playoff quarterbacks, and they're down in the bottom 8 of this list. You've played the guys to give you a break. The guys that are going to be really difficult are still to come on this schedule. I want to be clear before we finish this segment. I still really, really, really believe in LSU's defense, regardless of where these upcoming quarterbacks rank. But I believe in them like I believed in them last week against Lane Kiffin and Ole Miss, that they can play really well. And they can limit these guys and not let them go nuts like they will a lot of other times and score 40, 45 points like they do in a lot of teams. But you got to have some help from Garrett Nussmeier, who ranks 37th on this list, and your offense to win these games. There is no question about that as you move forward. So that's a look at this list. You can check out the entire list at ESPN.com. It's right there at the homepage of the college football tab, listing all the Power 4 quarterbacks to this point. Garrett Nussmeier comes in at 37. If you're looking for our LSU content, you can find it Hunt on LSU wherever you find your sound, course on YouTube as well, updated daily with your LSU football videos, usually in like 10 or 12-minute digestible segments. So if you subscribe to that channel, that'll come directly to your homepage. You'll be able to know when it shows up, and you can get your LSU football fix. Looking for Saints? We got you covered there at Hunt on Saints as well. Let's go ahead and take a time out. When we come back, J.D. PicKell hosted the Hard Count on 3 Sports.
See what's happening in the Cubs game,
I see what's happening. They got a long way to go to score a run
What's
here.
happening so far?
It's not going well. They got a couple singles. They got
Padres,
2 guys on base.
Two on and no out.
That's okay.
With your opener.
That's okay. We're going to get out of this inning. He's a reliever. He's used to pitching with guys on base. He pitches out of the stretch all the time. We're going to get a ground ball. Got great infield defense. We'll get a double play on Machado. We'll get out of the inning. No big deal.
I'm sending my resume in.
Your resume will be deposited in a urinal on Wrigley's site with a quickness.
We'll see.
Let's get to J.D. PicKell next.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
Highland Insurance Group, HighlandIG.com is the website. Captives. Talked to Jonathan Carbo about that on multiple occasions. If you're a business owner and you feel like you pay a significant amount in premiums, you're looking for a change to be made to your bottom line, the answer is not generally to cut out a bunch of coverage so you're less susceptible. The answer might be to get into a captive. If you have never been shown a captive, if you've never seen what that functions like and whether or not you're a fit, let the Highland Insurance Group take a look. They put folks in captives all the time. It can be a game changer to your business's bottom line. But you've got to be a fit from a premium standpoint, and you've got to be a fit from a loss history and risk management standpoint. If you are, contact the Highland Insurance Group. If you don't know whether or not you are and you want to find out, contact the Highland Insurance Group. Jonathan Carver and his team are phenomenal to work with. They're here in Baton Rouge. They are happy to help you out. It's the Highland Insurance Group. Check them out online, HighlandIG.com.
This is the Hunt Palmer Show, brought to you by Renaissance Homes and Pools.
Wednesday show is brought to you by Renaissance Homes and Pools. Looking to get into that pool of your dreams. BuiltByRenaissance.com. BuiltByRenaissance.com. Joey Blanchard, the owner of the company, he'll work with you start to finish on your project to make sure it comes out exactly the way that you like it. So contact him, BuiltByRenaissance.com. J.D. PicKell, host of the Hard Count on 3 Sports, wherever you find your podcasts. Certainly on YouTube as well. You can find our guy JD all year round with your college football content. He joins us on Wednesdays, does so now on those Jim Firearms Hotline. JD, how we doing?
Dude, doing well. Week 6 is here. And week 6 now, a year ago, everyone's saying, hey, this is the pumpkin patch week. This is the go out and get the yard work done week. And then what we had was not 1 but 2 field stormings. So what I'm saying is, Hunt, I don't listen to the people that say they're your friends that are asking you to go out and about this weekend. Make sure you're hunkered down and reevaluate your friend group if that's the case.
We got to talk about week 5 first.
Do we have to do that? We have to. I didn't even know we had a week 5. I thought we just went 4 to 6. I didn't even know LSU played last week.
It was a sad state of affairs. I saw. I don't know if mea culpa is the right word, but you certainly were a little forlorn in your analysis of that game post game. We know that you've been drinking purple and gold Kool-Aid. You know that we thought that LSU would go to Oxford and win. They did not. Your reaction to the game?
The only person that had a worse post game was probably Whit Weeks, with the whole having to handle that situation with Lane Kiffin afterwards. I don't envy him in that. But no, Hunt, I was distraught. And I was distraught because of the outward look here for LSU is tricky, because that was the game where the run game was supposed to show up. Like Ole Miss going into that spot, statistically speaking, averaging 5 yards a carry given up. Like that's not a tough front to play against if you're going forward, you would think, if you're LSU. And so for them not to be able to run the football against that team, I'm struggling to find a spot where LSU will just flip the switch in the run game. And it's not that they can't still have a good season and go, find their way backdoor into the playoffs. But like if Nuss is going to play like that and that run game is going to look that way, it's not like BK said post game. It's not anywhere near complimentary football, which is what it's going to take for them to get to where they ultimately want to go. So I guess I'm sitting with this here and saying it's not the fact they lost, it's the way that it looked and what they weren't able to do. And that's what leaves me feeling the most melancholy here after that showing.
What do you think about Ole Miss?
I think Ole Miss is really good. It's like I think Trinidad Chambliss might be the truth. For him to look the way that he looked after playing D2 football last year, I was fully banking on the idea that, hey, that's nice you did against Arkansas. It's nice that you did what you did against Tulane, but like this is like Baker we're talking about here. This is the Harold Perkins, brother. Like you're in for a rude awakening. And then the way that he delivered, the poise that he had, and the game plan they had that seemingly gave LSU fits, it would be the most college football thing ever for last year to be, quote unquote, the year for Ole Miss, where they go all in. They got 2 first-round guys on that roster, and Dart and Nolan, and then we fast-forward the tape a year later, and the D2 quarterback is the one who takes them to the playoffs. Because, like, look at their schedule. They got 2 games on the road that I would imagine they're not favored in. Every game outside of that, I'm probably taking Ole Miss. And so if that means Ole Miss is 10-2, they're probably a playoff team, which would just be the most ironic thing of all time, given what last year was.
I guess we'll go to Oregon-Penn State next. Ducks go there and win in overtime, 30-24. What'd you think?
I think Oregon is psychopathic. Like, Hunt, tell me if I'm wrong here. I was watching Dante Moore out there on the broadcast, and yes, he's played college football before at UCLA. Yes, he was in the system for a full year last year, but he looked like he was just out there riding the bus. Like, he looked like he was just borderline bored in that Penn State wideout. In an environment now, if you're picking Penn State, where you're saying, okay, that's going to rattle this first-year starting quarterback for Oregon. That's going to kind of take a second for them to get their footing. He was so cool, calm, and collected. I think this is Dan Lanning's best team. I really do.
Penn State, you think less of them? Same? More? What?
So I had Penn State near the back of my top 10 coming into that game. I wasn't overwhelmingly impressed with them. But at the same time, like, they play what I believe to be one of the top 2 teams in college football to a double overtime game. And if you're Penn State, you're like, man, we found a way at the end of that thing to probably be in a position where we should have won. Like, you score first in overtime, you'd be like, okay, defense get a stop. Like, we're walking out of this thing maybe not feeling great about the way that it looked, but we walked out of here with a win, and we put another W in that unfortunate number for James Franklin when it comes to top 10 teams. So I think my biggest takeaway here is, like, there's got to be a moment that Ohio State had post-Michigan where it's like, we draw a line in the sand and we're not going to feel this way anymore. And that's kind of a cliche, unquantifiable thing to say to you, because there's no way to point to that for Penn State and say, okay, they're going to be different because they lost to Oregon. But I really do think it's all internal for them. Like, I don't think there's a talent issue. They're as talented as I think most teams in college football are going to compete for a national championship. I wonder where that killer instinct is at and where that urgency is at, because it felt like it was Oregon for 57 minutes of that game, and then overtime. Like, it felt like it was Oregon controlling it for the majority, and Penn State was not playing at the level of intensity you would hope you would get when your team is at home with a crazy wideout behind you. So there's a lot of thoughts there. I don't think less of Penn State, but at the same time, I never really thought Penn State was going to be a team that was going to end up playing for a national championship, that is.
What was the biggest change in Alabama from Tallahassee to Athens?
I think it's Ty Simpson. And not just what he's doing on the field. That part is obviously impressive. To me, it is him stepping up and looking like he's not the starting quarterback, but like the guy. You know what I'm saying? Like, if you're going to be a team that wins a national championship, which Alabama aspires to be, you have got to have the guy that touches the football for you every single play, be the dude, be the guy that you look to, be the temperature setter emotionally. And so post-Florida State, I think we've seen Ty Simpson step into that role more. Like, seeing him hush the crowd in Athens, I'm like, okay, Ty, a little bit of edge there. I don't know if I've seen previous Alabama quarterbacks do that. I didn't see you doing that in previous spots against the Florida State. He's out there in the locker room, like, with a piece of the hedges in his mouth, rapping with his guys, like walking your track, tape over your traps. Like the moxie and the edge that Alabama's playing with, I think is radiating from Ty Simpson. And it's a big reason why I think they're in a good position here going forward, because they lack that edge against Florida State, but 15's bringing it now, and that's the big reason why you would like the Tide going forward.
I'm not going to lie to you, JD. I would never lie to you. I feel a little silly trying to get amped up for Vanderbilt going to Tuscaloosa. Do I need to be amped up for Vanderbilt going to Tuscaloosa?
My answer is yes, but I don't think you're wrong with how you feel. Like, seeing that Vanderbilt logo on a College game day graphic is a bit jarring. I'm 100% with you. The spot in itself, though, like, I think Vandy's actually good. Now, what does good mean? Does good mean they play for an SEC title this year? Probably not. I think good means they can hang with Alabama. I don't think that where Vanderbilt's at right now is fluky. But I also think that the spot that Vandy's in, the spot that Alabama is in heading into this game, is not being talked about nearly enough. Like last year, Hunt, this game was on 4:15 Eastern on the SEC Network. This game was not circled for anybody. This was the sleepiest slate, right? And then this year, it's College game day. And so for Vanderbilt, I don't know how they're going to handle that. I have a feeling Diego Pavia will handle it well, but like as a team, if they don't handle that well and you see some, spotlight mistakes for them where, hey, we're on a big stage, a little bit nervous, don't play our style of ball, whatever. Like, they play a very low margin for error kind of game as Vanderbilt. Like, they're not a team that can win if they get down 13-0 quickly in Bryant-Denny. So I question that. And then also I look at Alabama, and it's like, yeah, you have the same questions of, well, yes, you beat Georgia. Do you handle success well? Last year's team didn't. I still think that Florida State loss lives in their mind. I think they were embarrassed by that. I think that fuels them. And I think the edge for Bama is ultimately a reason why they take Vandy seriously, plus the fact they lost last year. They take them seriously and handle business. I think if it's 10.5, I like Vandy to cover. Anything else, though, I'll take Alabama.
Miami headed to Tallahassee, headed up the Sunshine State. How do you see that one?
I just love that we're talking about this game, to be honest. Like, that in itself is fun to me, and it's a good deal. I think Florida State is more dangerous having lost to Virginia. I think they're more desperate, and I think that favors them. If they respond to it the right way, I think they will. I just think Miami is the most dependable they've been, in the last decade?
Yeah.
Like, they feel mature, and they have things that I think will travel, which is violence on the line of scrimmage, which is experienced quarterback play. And so for all those reasons, there's too much for me there to not take Miami. But if Florida State can be frisky early and create some uncertainty for that young offense, I say young offense, some newer pieces on the perimeter for Miami, create some uncertainty for them. If you kind of get Thomas Castellanos into a groove, and we could see a rerun of what happened in the Florida State-Bama game. So a lot of thoughts there, but I think it's all about how does this thing start and how much success does Miami have imposing their well on the line of scrimmage.
I don't see another game that I just have to have analysis of, but I'd like to toss you this kind of bigger picture question. Oklahoma State job is open. Arkansas job is open. I think the Kentucky job comes open on Sunday. If not, it's this month. If I told you all the finances are the same, you can take one of those three jobs, Arkansas, Kentucky, Oklahoma State, where would you go and why?
That's a really good question, especially saying that finances are going to be equal. If I'm the coach, the Kentucky job would be appealing to me because I'm getting paid SEC money, like everyone says, but my expectations are go win 8 games.
Yeah.
So in terms of like a job that I want to do, I take Kentucky. If my goal is to go win, I think Arkansas in general is a more attractive brand when it comes to recruiting. Feels like there is a little bit more opportunity to acquire top talent with what they've been historically. So I think that's probably the way I would. I think I'd take the Arkansas job, but if it's about just living a life with a reasonable heart rate, I'd probably take Kentucky.
It's interesting. There's going to be, I think, a number of jobs coming available here in the next few weeks. I would not be surprised at all if Kentucky and Florida are both open on Sunday. I think those are possibilities. We'll just have to see if that's the case. We'll talk about them next week. JD, appreciate a little bit of time. Enjoy the football this weekend, man.
Appreciate you, huh? Have a great one, brother. JD
PicKell, host of The Hard Count on 3 Sports. You can find him on YouTube, wherever you find your podcast. Just search The Hard Count. You can find him, and you can find him here every single Wednesday as well. So, got 30 minutes left to go. We'll take a timeout. Come back with our SEC football power rankings next.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
Swing Easy Golf Club in Baton Rouge, swingeasygcbr.com. If you're a golfer, no matter if you're a scratch player or if you're someone who just likes the game, likes to hit some shots, and maybe not great, but you're just a weekend golfer, maybe a few times a year. Either way, you can have a great time at Swing Easy Golf Club. Socialize there. You walk in, you look right to the left at Swing Easy Golf Club. You got the front desk, you got the fridge back there, all the beers, seltzer, wine you could want, and then you got those 3 individual bays that are set up with your golf simulator. You got seating in there. It's comfortable. You got the television set up. You got the simulator. Hang out with some friends. You got 2 of you. You got 9 of you. You can still hang out at Swing Easy Golf Club. Enjoy your time. Watch some football on TV. Watch some postseason baseball on TV. Work on your game or turn the simulator on to Pebble Beach. Turn it on to Bethpage Black. Turn it on to Cypress Point. Turn it on to Pine Valley. Turn it on to TPC Sawgrass. Play the Island Par 3 and bet your friends on it. You can do any of that stuff over at Swing Easy Golf Club. It's such a fun place to just go hang out, whether you're a great player or you just like to hack some balls around. And the good news is you can play the Highland Green, hit 50 in a row in the water. It doesn't cost you any golf balls. Just keep hitting the same one. Just go see it. Trust me, you'll want to go see it and hang out at Swing Easy Golf Club. It's there on Segan at Perkins. You can check them out online at swingeasygcbr.com. But again, highly recommend you go see them at Swing Easy Golf Club.
You're listening to The Hunt Palmer Show. Brought to you by Renaissance Homes and Pools.
Wednesday show is brought to you by Renaissance Homes and Pools. Cleveland and Detroit tied at 1. Tigers trying to punch their ticket on to the divisional round. Cleveland trying to extend things to tomorrow. Padres jumped out to a 1-0 lead on the Cubs in the top of the first inning. They're now in the bottom of the second. 1-0 Padres. All right. Got some shuffling to do here with our SEC football power rankings. Let's get to it.
Hunt's SEC Power Rankings. The Alabama Crimson Tide.
Moved the Tide up 5 spots. I think they were down at like 10 after week 1. They're now at the top spot. I just think that they have a lot of talent. I think their defense has played pretty well. I was impressed by the defense on Saturday. They're hustling more than everyone saw them loafing against Florida State. But Simpson's the difference. Because you know they're going to have dudes on the outside, which they do. Jam Miller now back at running back as well. Ryan Williams is a star. And Simpson's playing great. And so that's the difference maker here for me. I've got them at the top spot. Plus, they went to Athens and won. That brings us to number 2.
The Georgia Bulldogs.
I said Georgia was going to be at the top until they weren't. You lose a game on the road where I think the team outplayed you. And now you couple that with the fact that they got really nearly outplayed by Tennessee. I'm not going to take it away from them, but this is not the steamroller that we've seen. I think Tennessee and Bama are both very good, so I don't think that Georgia falls back to like 6 because of that, but I do have to bring them off the top spot, Georgia at number 2.
The Oklahoma Sooners.
Got the Sooners back to 1 spot. They were 2 last week. Georgia and Alabama jumped them, so the Sooners there with a really, really good defense. Tops on 3rd down in the nation at this point, and when Mateer gets healthy, I think they're really good. I'm not going to ding Oklahoma right now for Mateer being hurt. We'll see how things move along the course of the month of October, but right now I've got OU at number 3.
The Ole Miss Rebels.
Ole Miss moves up 7 spots. I watched every snap they played on Saturday, unfortunately. I still think their defense is probably not very good. LSU not able to do anything against it, but Kiffin is going to score points. And they're going to score points on just about everybody they play. They scored enough points to win the game against LSU. They are unbeaten. They're a likely playoff team, in my opinion. And they got a quarterback that really knows what he's doing. I was impressed with him against that LSU defense, which might be the best defense he sees all year. So I got Ole Miss at number 4. Texas A&M! That backs the Aggies up 1 spot because Ole Miss climbed 7. So A&M, even though I still think they're pretty good, and I'm impressed by the fact that they won a shootout in South Bend and then won a slugfest against Auburn in College Station, winning 2 different ways. I think it's a good thing. Marcel Reed, I think, is a good player. Mike Elko, I think, is a good defensive coach. I think A&M is a threat here. I've got him at number 5.
The Tennessee Volunteers.
Vols just stay stationary. They go to Starkville. They get the win. Was it the best defensive effort I've ever seen? No. Did Aguilar make enough plays down the stretch to get it done? He did. That's a hostile environment to play in there in Starkville, especially at night when things get cooking. And Tennessee handled themselves pretty well with a lot of new guys that weren't out there last year. So not something that's going to skyvault you through the ranks here, but I like the fact that they were able to go win, so they stay there at 6.
The Missouri Tigers.
Missouri doesn't move either. They're there at 7. Their strength of schedule has not been very, very, very difficult to this point. We'll see what they do in the month of October. I think they're good. They're not great. They're 7.
The Vanderbilt Commodores.
Vandy's beating up on some teams they're a lot better than. We'll see what happens this weekend. They got to go to Tuscaloosa. I can see a situation where Vanderbilt's in the top 4 next week. I can see a situation where Vanderbilt's in the bottom 4 next week. It really depends on how things go in Tuscaloosa, Alabama. For now, right there in the middle at number 8.
The LSU Tigers.
I backed LSU up 6 spots. They are the biggest mover of the week, and it's the wrong direction. That offense is bad right now. There's not really another way to suggest it. They've got an opportunity to get better throwing the ball, and the defense is good. So they're not a disaster, but I had them in the top 3. They're now back in the bottom half of the league at 9.
The Texas Longhorns.
Horns stay the same. They're right there in that 10 slot. They've got some big ones coming up. They got to play Florida. They got to play Oklahoma. They've got to prove themselves against some teams with a little bit more talent than what we have seen thus far. The loss to Ohio State's not a disaster. It's not, but the offense has not been good. So I need to see some more. I still have left Texas down there at 10 while they beat up on a bunch of teams that are not very good.
The Auburn Tigers.
Auburn slips a couple of spots because they're losing. They're not terrible. They're not bad. They're just losing. They lost at Oklahoma. They lost at Texas A&M. A lot of teams are going to lose at Oklahoma. A lot of teams are going to lose at Texas A&M, but you're losing. So I can't, in good faith, move you up significantly. In fact, at this point, I moved them down 2 spots. Auburn at number 11.
The Mississippi State Bulldogs.
Mississippi State moves up to the 12 spot. That is a 3-spot rise for Jeff Levy's team in a losing effort, no less. But here's what they did. They beat Arizona State. They played Tennessee right off their skis into overtime. That's good stuff by Jeff Levy's team. I think Chapin's playing well. I think their defense is respectable. It's not good, but you've gone from embarrassing to respectable. So I gotta give you credit for that to an extent. Mississippi State moves up to number 12. That is a 3-spot improvement for the Dogs.
The South Carolina Gamecocks.
Gamecocks stay stationary. They right now are as bad on offense as LSU, especially running the ball. And Norris Sellers taking way too many sacks. They've lost a couple of games, including a blowout loss to Vanderbilt, lost a game that was reasonably competitive against Missouri. They're just not very good right now. We'll see them in Tiger Stadium a week from Saturday. South Carolina at number 13.
The Florida Gators.
Florida's bad, but their defense is still pretty good. So that leaves them in the 14 slot. I'm not moving them back in, even though they're not winning any games. We'll see what they can do this week when they got Texas coming to town. But Florida stays at number 14.
The Arkansas Razorbacks.
I had the Hogs at 12 purely because they have a fun offense. And even though they had lost to Memphis, they lost Ole Miss, they were scoring points in those games. They didn't score on Notre Dame, and Notre Dame's defense is not very good, and their defense is just abysmal. So I can't move Arkansas anything further than 15 because 16 is very obvious. This is as low as they are able to go. They fired their coach. They're going in a new direction. They got Bobby Petrino, but they're not number 16 because we got one more team to get to.
The Kentucky Wildcats.
Kentucky's very bad. Very, very, very bad. They're very bad at offense. They're very bad at defense. They're bad at running the ball. They're bad at stopping the run. They're bad at passing it, stopping the pass. They're poorly coached. They don't recruit well. They don't develop. This has run its course, and the longer they drag it out, the longer they drag it out. But they got to make a change. They're the worst team in the SEC to me. So that is your look at the Southeastern Conference. Bama at the top. Georgia number 2, then you got Oklahoma, Ole Miss 3 and 4. Texas A&M comes in at 5. The Tennessee Vols at 6. Missouri 7. Vandy 8. LSU, the free faller of the week. They go down to number 9. That is a 6-spot drop for the Tigers. Texas at 10. Auburn drops to number 11. Mississippi State rises the ranks to 12th. Then you got South Carolina at 13. Florida at 14. Arkansas tumbles to 15th, and then the Kentucky Wildcats are last.
Pretty good stuff, Hunt.
Pretty good, he says.
Yep.
You have no complaints about that.
No, not really. I think I think Alabama has the best win of anybody so far. They beat
at
Georgia and at Athens. I mean, that's the best win, and they
also have a loss.
They do have a loss.
Oklahoma has no losses. Ole Miss has no losses. A&M has no losses.
That's true, but
Tennessee has one loss. Missouri has no losses.
Oklahoma hasn't done anything really. They beat Michigan at home with Bryce Underwood. They beat Auburn at home by 1 touchdown. Oklahoma hasn't done anything over impressive. That they don't have a great win. I think even with Alabama's loss, which was bad, I still think that massive win against Georgia in Athens is. I think if Bama wins that one at home, I don't know that it's as impressive. But since they went on the road and did that, I'm okay with them being
without
at 1.
some tip ball turnovers or some fluke strip sack score.
Yes.
It was just kind of a
legit
win. Ty Simpson throw it around a little bit, play some defense.
Yep,
that was pretty good.
I like Vandy above LSU. That I don't know why so far you would have any other. I mean. My thing is LSU and Vandy on a neutral site. LSU's gonna be favored, but I don't want to play against Diego Pavia the way that offense has been humming. I know LSU's got a good defense, but we said the same thing about Ole Miss. Ole Miss hadn't played a defense like LSU yet. They still came out there and LSU's offense couldn't do anything. So
that's the point.
That's the problem.
The prism with which we view LSU's defense is altered by the fact that they had to play for 90 plays.
You cannot.
But it's also on by the other's token, if Halsey doesn't punch that ball out at the 4-yard line and they score a touchdown there, that game looks a lot worse.
It does.
And I guarantee you, I haven't listened because I can't bring myself to do it, but I can't listen to the Ole Miss stuff this week. But I guarantee you that was the point. It was not that. LSU kind of held Ole Miss at 24. It was like, well, they should have had 31 if they don't fumble on the 4-yard line. I'm confident that's the take that you would get from the folks in Oxford. And that's not wrong. Like they could have scored if you don't have that ball punched out. But AJ Halsey knocked it out there. So that's your power rankings here on this Wednesday. We will step aside, come back and close it out next.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
Genesis of Baton Rouge, genesisofbatonrouge.com. America's best warranty is what you can find at Genesis of Baton Rouge. I always tell you about the people at Genesis. I tell you about the facility at Genesis. I tell you about the IHA top safety picks, which every model is. I tell you about how comfortable and stylish the cars are. There's so many things that are great about Genesis of Baton Rouge, but one of them is the warranty that you get with every vehicle. It's industry leading. You're talking about a powertrain warranty for 100,000 miles in 10 years. You're talking about a new vehicle warranty, bumper to bumper, 5 years, 60,000 miles. You're talking about 24/7 roadside assistance wherever you go, 5 years, unlimited miles. And also complimentary scheduled valet maintenance, 3 years, 36,000 miles. So you don't have to deal with all the tedious things that go into maintaining a vehicle. It's tedious. It is. I'm going to have to deal with mine on Friday. It can be. But you don't have to, because you can make sure that is taken care of by the folks at Genesis of Baton Rouge. Check them out online, genesisofbatonrouge.com, genesisofbatonrouge.com.
This is the Hunt Palmer Show, brought to you by Renaissance Homes and Pools.
These 3-game series are just like fever dreams. Like, it's outside of the Dodgers just ambushing the Reds last night. It's just scrapping, fighting, and clawing for any run you can possibly get. Cubs win 3-1 yesterday. 3-1 win for the Sox, I think, yesterday. Is that right?
Yeah. Yes.
And then you had a 2-1, I think, for the Tigers yesterday.
Yes.
Yeah, that's exactly right. So it's just like every game is so nip and tuck because every team is just full on deploying their bullpens in the 5th inning, and every guy comes in throwing 150 miles an hour. It's just it's so gripping. It's so compelling. I realize that this is not a Major League Baseball market, that there are some Astros fans, there are some Braves fans, there are some Yankees, Red Sox, Cubs fans, but it's not something we talk about really ever. But the baseball yesterday I watched a lot of it based on the noon game leading up to my show, and then the Cubs game, obviously. And then when I got home, Yankees, Red Sox was finishing up, and Yankees loaded the bases with nobody out in a 3-1 game. And then Chapman came back and got the 3 outs. It was just incredible stuff. And then today's been exactly more of the same. You look at what's going on in Cleveland right now. You've got a 1-1 game headed to the bottom of the 8th inning between the Tigers and Guardians. Incidentally, if you weren't listening to the top of the show, Tiger started former Auburn ace Casey Mize today, and then Cubs and Padres is a 1-0 game in the third inning as well. So it's just it's so gripping, it's so compelling. I think things will loosen up as you get into the division round. It's a 5-game series. You've got a little bit more wiggle room. You don't have aces and high level relievers coming in immediately, but it's really good right now. The Guardians only have 2 hits, and they're right there in that game. So should be an incredible day of baseball here, and then we'll see what tomorrow brings from a scheduling perspective. Just depends on how many game 3s are forced. I hate the stat that's just flying everywhere currently that in this format, which has been going on for 3 years, that no team has lost the first game and then come back and won the second 2, which is not great news for the Cubs who won yesterday. It just seems like that would. Somebody asked me, I did a Lafayette hit today, and they were like, hey, you should be in a great spot with the Cubs. No one's ever come back from 1-0 down in this best of 3. And I was like, well, the Cubs defied history for 108 years previously. So I feel like we really don't have to subscribe to those types of statistics. Also had a 3-1 lead in 2003 and gagged it away in the CS. So it happens.
That was before the curse was broken, though, Hunt.
It was. But, since we did break the curse, we haven't done squat. We won 1 postseason series the next year.
That is
and haven't
true.
done anything. So feels like it's time to go maybe figure something out. It's been 9 years since 2016.
It's a long time.
It is a long time. We got any take it or leave it?
Yeah.
Take it or leave it.
Take it or leave it.
Presented to you by Flight by Yingling, the next generation of light beer, crafted by America's oldest brewery. Today's hottest stories in sports, news, and sometimes even Hunt's life. The question is, will he take them or leave them?
Michelle is in Wrigley Field right now with a Flight by Yingling. They now have them up there in Illinois. They did not have them in Nebraska or in Iowa, where I was this summer, but a lot of places they do, and Louisiana is certainly one of them. If you're looking for a light beer on these hot Louisiana afternoons, another hot weekend coming, looking to watch some football on the couch, watch some baseball on the couch, want to enjoy a cold beer, Flight by Yingling is the next generation of light beer.
All right, first one here, some big NFL news. The Browns will be benching Joe Flacco and starting Dylan Gabriel. It will not be Shadur Sanders. He will still be the third string. Flacco will now be the backup for Dylan Gabriel. Gabriel, of course, was a third-round pick for the Browns, while Shadur went later in the draft. Browns starting Dylan Gabriel. Take it or leave it.
I'll take it. Why not?
I'll take
He's
it.
an early-round pick, had a nice college career. Give him a shot. I'm kind of in that mode with the Saints here coming up. You still got to give Spencer Rattler his one, maybe 2 more efforts, but I think Tyler Shuck's time is approaching at some point. Now it's Gabriel's time. I was listening to ESPN Chicago earlier today, and they were talking about the Browns going, we're terrible at football. The Bears are an awful existence annually. The Browns are so much worse, and that is actually true. And if you're miserable as a Saints fan right now and you like some company, the Browns are significantly worse. So that's a feather to put in your cap.
All right, next one here. Arsenal playing in the Champions League right now, leading 1-0 at halftime against Olympiacos, the Greek giant.
Olympiacos.
Olympiacos. As in Olympics, but Olympiacos because they're in Greece. Yeah, they're in Athens. Mm-hmm. Arsenal, get the win today against Olympiacos. Take it or leave
Surprised you even said win. Aren't you supposed to say result?
I'm saying they're going to win.
They're not going to win.
They're not going to win.
Olympiacos.
Leave it alone.
You realize that it's impossible for a team to score 2 goals in the second half. So the game's already over.
It actually
Impossible.
is very possible.
There's a home run by the Guardians. That's their second hit of the game. That one went over the fence. Cubs won a game doing that yesterday. Just a couple of solo homers. I don't know anything about Arkansas and Olympiacos. I know they got to make sure their touches are good up front.
Yeah.
Got to go ahead and make sure that you're aggressive on the back end.
Yep.
No red cards. You don't want that.
No, you don't.
And you want to make sure that no handballs. You don't want that.
You don't want that either.
You want to make sure.
Come on, you're a soccer dad now. Huh?
Your through balls have to be great.
Yes,
you got to have great through balls, because if you don't have great through balls, you're not going to be able to get the ball in the net.
That's a great point by you, Hunt. You really should be studying up some more since you're going to be a soccer dad.
If
Hunt.
Alexi Lawless needs to sit out his analyst role, I can jump in and make it happen.
Well, he's pretty bad. You could probably do better than him, to be honest with you.
Who's good? Landon Donovan?
He's all right, but he had a little spat with some of the current U.S. men's national team players, so that was kind of stupid.
A little drama.
Not great. He also needs to shave his head. It looks really bad. All right, last one. The Commanders, Jaden Daniels, plans to play after being cleared. JD5 and the Commanders get the win against the Chargers on Sunday. Take it or leave it.
I will leave that. Chargers, I believe, are very good.
They're pretty good.
I believe they're very good. I think they're a Super Bowl threat. That Shocker.
That's
you
fair.
hire a really good coach, and he turns everything around pretty quickly. I don't know if that's a great look for Brandon Staley, but hey, Saints don't need him to be a head coach. They just need him to call some defenses, which generally speaking, he does a pretty good job of. But yeah, Jim Harbaugh is as good a coach as there is in football right now, college, pro, whatever the case may be. He's very, very good. I'm hopeful that Dan Quinn, Jaden Daniels, and the Commanders can win. I will be pulling for the Commanders. Hail to the Commanders, but I don't believe they're going to beat the Chargers.
Last one, Cubs down 0-1 early. They were down early in the last game, but the Cubs win today. Take it or leave it.
Leave it. I got to stay consistent.
Leave it alone.
They weren't going to win yesterday. Got to go ahead and make sure that we say they're going to lose.
All right.
I'm disgusted by the fact that Dylan Cease keeps striking people out. The guy's ERA on the road is 1 billion, and we can't make contact.
He's got good stuff, Hunt.
I don't care. Hit the ball. That's it. All right, if you missed any of the show today, catch it on demand wherever you find your sound. Hunt Palmer Show. Hunt on LSU for your LSU stuff. Hunt on Saints for your Saints stuff. We're back tomorrow. Talk to Luke Johnson. Talk to Chris Blair. Also get you SEC picks against the spread because I won't be here on Friday. So we'll do that on tomorrow's show. Matt's going to drive you home on AFR next. See you tomorrow for the Hunt Palmer Show.
The Hunt Palmer Show.